Welcome to Haunt Weekly.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Haunt Weekly, a weekly podcast for the on-attraction entertainment community. Whether an actor, owner, or just plain aficionado, we aim to be a podcast for you. And we return to you with yet another in our weird series of niche things. Last time, I believe we talked about group size and haunting. This week, we're talking about actor-created characters, the whys and wheres and whens you might do it and accept them, and the pitfalls thereof. And best part of all, we're going to be talking about this from both the perspective of a haunt owner and a haunter. So whether you're the actor creating the character or the owner deciding whether or not to allow and incorporate them, there's going to be a lot in this podcast for you. And you'll find that a lot of our episodes are like that. If you go through, check us out at hauntweekly.com or Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook, youtube.com/hauntweekly is the YouTube channel. We're also available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, anywhere that podcasts are distributed. I'm not in charge of distribution. Someone else just takes it and yeets it to all the places and don't really deal with it. Anyways, we have got a lot going on this week. And first off, we have to open up with an apology. Several of you apparently woke up right around on Wednesday. And you were joined by our esteemed girlfriend, Ellie, in that regard, and timing this out. And realizing the podcast had not gone live.
Yeah.
And we normally are live sometime on Monday, though for a lot of people that might be picking up Tuesday because it's usually Monday evening or Monday late afternoon. So depending upon when you're able to get to it or what time zone you're in, it might be Tuesday for you. We understand that. But by Wednesday, it seems like everyone had figured it out and told me about it and like at once.
Yeah.
So thank you to everyone who did write me, who did communicate with me. And also thank you to Ellie for letting me know that it was not up. I feel bad about it because apparently some of you were worried about Crystal.
Yeah.
Because we had just gone through that whole thing about her health and why we had not restarted the
right.
And all that stuff is ongoing, to be clear. We're not out of the woods yet, but we are making steady progress, it feels. Things should be getting a lot better very soon. That said, her health had nothing to do with it.
No.
Not a damn thing in the world to do with it.
You had a very busy Monday.
Yeah, and I've been trying to think about how much of this I can really talk about comfortably.
Right.
Because it involves the day job.
Yeah.
And we don't really talk much about the day job around these here parts.
Right.
But suffice to say that I have a very, very unusual day job. I spend my hours as a copyright and plagiarism expert witness. And as part of that, there's something I have to do, and like I said, I'm trying to decide how much of that I can talk about. But I'll say it like this. I was being deposed in a major case. I'm not going to talk about the case at all. I don't really need to.
No.
What you need to know is that depositions are something that happen in my line of work.
Yeah.
But they happen very irregularly. Like, I haven't had one in like 4 or 5 years. And so I was being deposed in a case. The first one I've had almost since Haunt Weekly began.
Yeah.
At least goddamn close. Because, so this is it. And you got to realize this is a line of work where I do a lot of reports and a lot of expert witness shit. And very, very rarely does it jump over all the hurdles to make it to where I have to do a deposition. And depositions fucking suck.
Yes, they do.
They suck ass. They suck it long. They suck it hard. They suck it deep. It is rough. And I, with my anxiety issues, absolutely hate it. It is like my least favorite thing to do. Now, what happened is Monday and Tuesday of last week, I had pre-deposition work and then the deposition, or first thing Tuesday morning. So I was doing the least favorite part of my job for about 48 hours there, functionally straight. At least in my own head, it was 48 hours straight. I mean, it may not have been 48 physical hours, but it felt like it.
Well, it consumed your mind for 48 hours.
It consumed my mind and my life. Now, here's the thing. I was aware of this. I've had several months warning about this.
Mm-hmm.
I knew this was likely coming. I had made plans. And in fact, truth, Crystal and I had recorded, as usual, Sunday before.
Yes.
The thing about it is, I'd had planned for this in which I would kick off all this stuff on its own. And that way, even if I didn't get all the little social media stuff done,
Mm-hmm.
the actual podcast would go live and everybody would be happy. I thought I had done that Sunday evening as I had planned. I found out Wednesday I had not. I don't know if I had just not finished like the last step. I don't know what I did wrong. All the pieces were on my computer. It's obviously I started with the intent of doing it, but it didn't get done. And I don't know what happened. I, honest to God, do not know what happened to prevent that from taking place. It was something between me loading the files on my computer and me setting things up with the online services. And it was probably just a mental breakdown on my end, if we're being completely honest. It can be summarized as Jonathan was freaking out and stressing out. And even though it went incredibly well, went amazingly well, and that's all I'm going to say about it. Don't worry about me in the aftermath. I'm very happy with the outcome. Yeah, it got lost in the shuffle, and I'm sorry about that. I know everyone is very fond of telling me life comes before podcast. You're right. But realistically, this should not have happened. My precautions and everything in place should have prevented this, but it did not. So not only did the episode go Thursday, but that fucked up all our social media timings.
Yeah.
And so we didn't post the question of the week, and because it would have been posted today, basically with the normal timings. And today we're posting an episode. So we don't have the question of the week. Now, last week's question of the week and the episode was, what is your haunts policy on actor-created characters? And usually we get a message or two or something about it directly in the podcast, but this time everyone was asking where the podcast was. So we got nothing back on that. I'm going to be just completely honest. I thought it was a good question. Was eager to hear what everyone else had to say, but we didn't get it. So we'll just skip straight from explanation to this week's question of the week, which is, hey, Transworld's coming up. What are your Transworld plans? Mm-hmm. Are you going? Are you staying? Will you be watching from home? Will you be checking out streams or something? What are you going to be doing? What's the plan? Let us know. HauntWeekly.com, HauntWeekly on Twitter, and HauntWeekly on Facebook are the easiest ways to do it. And hopefully, if everything times out normally, like it does every other week, we will be posting the question of the week as a separate post on Facebook Wednesday or Thursday.
Yes.
All right, so that sounds lovely. I think that's all great and good. The only thing I'm really upset about now, like looking at it today, is that we broke our record of 324 Mondays with a podcast because of my stupidity.
Oh.
I do kind of weep a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah, I hate it when I break streaks.
Oh, it sucks.
I completely understand.
It sucks. And like I said, I'm not going to let it get me down because things did go so well. I'm still kind of off the rails and off the walls about it. Mm-hmm. Like, literally, I am overcome with joy by how well it did go, but it was so all-encompassing when it was going on. And the immediate aftermath, because the celebrations were brutal. Ask my liver. My liver is sending me letters it hasn't sent in some time.
Yeah.
But yes, so I'm not going to let it get me down, but it does suck. I'm going to acknowledge that it sucks. All right, well, that brings us to the actual conference reminders. And I guess I'll take the first one this week, because it is a big one coming up March 17th through the 20th. That is 2 weeks away now. I think we get one more podcast to remind people to pack for Transworld, and that's it. Mm-hmm. In St. Louis, Missouri, at the America Center, is Transworld's Halloween and Attraction Show. Co-located with Transworld's Christmas Show and Room Escape Conference. There will be a Chicago-based pre-show bus tour. I just read about this. It will tour Hell's Gate, Disturbia, Massacre Haunted House, and Basement of the Dead. 3 of those haunts we have been to, and will testify directly to their greatness. We did not make it to Disturbia. Disturbia was not on the Lost Souls tour weekend that we went. Mm-hmm. But I do know Japes has also said great things about it as well. As such, I expect amazing things from Disturbia. There is also a party at City Museum, a casino night event, and a vintage costume ball. Plus, as we just learned from posts coming out recently, Japes will be sitting down with Katie Lane and Jeff Walker with moderation by Scott Taterlin. Who the hell picked Tater to moderate anything? Moderation and Tater do not exist in the same sentence.
That was the exact joke I thought of whenever I wrote that out into the notes.
Tater is a modder? Oh my lord. Y'all gotta see this shit just to watch what happens, okay? Even if Japes isn't on it.
But what they're going to be talking about is creating iconic lot characters for events, which kind of ties into this week's episode.
Yes, it absolutely does. But holy shit, I want to see this now. If someone's streaming this, let me know. But yes, indeed. Check out more at the Haas Show, HAASHOW.com. They also posted, they still have some space in some of their hotel blocks if you are interested in staying close by.
Okay. After that, May 13th through the 15th, it is the West Coast Haunters Convention. It'll be at the Doubletree Hotel Portland in Portland, Oregon. The organization is a nonprofit that donates to professionals that work with autism. It has a haunt tour bus visiting Fear PDX in Portland, and 2 great-looking parties, a costume contest, and a foam dart war. HauntersConvention.com for more info.
Sounds absolutely amazing. I've also heard good things about Fear PDX, too. Their name has come up a few times. After that, it's the Southeast Hollows Haunting Convention in Savannah, Georgia, July 29. Actually, it's not next. I just realized we got these out of order.
No.
Oh, well, we got them in order. Okay, so fine. I'll take D, you take C, and I'm going to rearrange.
Okay.
We're editing live. There. That should do it. Go ahead, okay, yes. The Midwest Haunters Convention in Rosemont, Illinois, June 10th through the 12th at Donald E. Stevens Convention Center. 2022 details are pending as per the page as of today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, then July 29th through 31st, it'll be the Midwest Haunters Convention.
It's okay, you're fine.
Sorry, Southeast Hollows Haunt Convention.
Notes are changing in real time if everyone's freaking out a little bit. Sorry. My fault.
Yes, there was no reason to move them right then.
Yes, there was. There was lots of room. Because I'll forget to do it after the podcast. As we've established, if I don't do things right now when it's in my mind, it does not get done.
Okay, let's try this again.
Start over.
Finally, Southeast Hollows Haunt Convention in Savannah, Georgia, July 29th through the 31st. SEHC.com, SEHHC.com for more info as it becomes available.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, obviously, I think the missing Monday's post has spooked me a little bit. Or a lot of it.
Mm.
All right. So, getting into this week's actual topic, this is something that if you run a haunted attraction, large or small, it's going to happen at some point. An actor is going to create this character, or they think is the best goddamn thing in the universe, and they're really excited about it, and they just can't wait to tell you about it and include it in the haunt. They want to perform it at your haunt. However, there's a myriad of problems with that. And we're going to go over these in more detail, but it may not fit your theme. There are issues of ownership and intellectual property. And what if the character's not any good? What if it's just the 80 millionth crappy clown character we have in the haunt industry? So yes, as a haunt owner, you have to make a tough decision. Are the rewards worth the risk? What if I lose this actor? What if I say no and they leave? If we're in a quote-unquote labor shortage, where that could be kind of problematic. What if other customers come to expect this character for my haunt? It becomes a big part of it. So here's the thing. We're going to spend this entire episode talking about this exact conundrum, but we're going to look at it from both sides. We're going to look at it from the haunt side and the actor side. For haunts, we're going to ask and answer the question, should you allow actor-created characters or should you feature them? And the answer, spoiler, is you've got to make a tough decision here. There's no universal answer here. And for the actors, what should you do to protect and grow your characters? What should you do to sort of take care of your creations? But we're going to start and spend most of our time with the haunt owners. Then we're going to discuss some neutral stuff that applies to both. Then we'll go into the actor side. Sounds good?
Sounds good.
All right. Haunt owners. There are basically a slew of problems that actor-created characters come with. Now, here's the thing. A lot of haunts, and I've seen this before, actor breathlessly comes to the owner or the manager, whatever. I just created, whatever, and can I do it in this room? Can I do it in my room? And they'll say, fine, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care.
Yeah.
And a lot of haunts, that's genuinely the answer. Fine, I don't care. Do if it remotely fits. Just do it. And we kind of have that mentality.
And these are more with the smaller haunts.
Yeah, this is more common with the smaller haunts and the charity haunts.
Yeah.
Where they're just trying to make the show run and make it run smoothly. They're not super interested in providing necessarily the most put together experience. They understand it's going to be a hodgepodge.
Mm-hmm.
They understand it's going to be a mixed bag. And they're okay with that. I mean, they're assembling Chex Mix, not a, not a unified, not a cheesecake, I don't know why. Cheesecake is the weirdest.
I don't know either.
Well, cheesecake has really good consistency.
No, I don't. Just continue.
It made perfect sense in my head in the 2 seconds it took me to say it.
Uh-huh.
But then again, that's kind of the entire story of everything I've said on Haunt Weekly.
Yeah.
But yeah. But that is the first big problem. Is it may not fit the theme or your haunt itself. What if your actor creates a clown character and you're not a clown haunt?
Mm-hmm.
You have a hard rule against clowns. Or maybe you have a different attraction that's clown-based. Maybe you have that 3D funhouse that's totally clown-based, but this actor wants to be a clown in the main haunt.
Yeah.
What about that? What if the character is silly and goofy and this is a very serious, heavy haunt? What if you're trying to do something more on the hard side of horror and this character is just way too goofy?
Takes people right out of the experience you're trying to create.
There's ways to add levity without being fucking goofy.
Yeah.
Basically, and this is just blowing way past levity into slapstick comedy and goofiness. The first problem is it may well not fit your haunt and what you're trying to do. It may be completely incongruent to your message and what you're trying to convey. The second is that it may actually be not original.
Yeah.
We've seen this firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
The original character may just be a complete ripoff and an infringement of someone else. I mean, because, we've seen original characters. Oh, yeah, we got an original character we want to do. It was just fucking Leatherface.
Yeah.
You lazy assholes.
Yeah. And this comes up, quite often because they'll say it's original and they expect people... And, we can't know all of the characters that are out there.
No.
Like for every genre and everything. We just can't.
Yeah. And and part of that is right now we have and right now is a really good time for horror movies broadly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to say this. Horror, I believe, is the only major genre of cinema where there is a continuous stream of new and original intellectual property coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I don't necessarily like a lot of it or a lot of it isn't for me, I cannot deny that. Compare this to action movies, which is so dominated by superhero shit right now that nothing feels original and new.
Yeah.
We just re-released the fucking Batman.
Right. Well, and, it's not just horror genre characters that actors will have tried to bring. Because, what if they're big sci-fi fans and there's this big scary thing in a sci-fi?
Yeah, true.
And
You're
you
just
don't
a
watch
Borg.
sci-fi.
You're just a Borg.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you don't watch sci-fi, you're not going to recognize that as a not original character.
Yeah. But even if you do recognize that it is not an original character, the way it was presented to you may not have made it seem like that's what that was. And it was only when you see the character actually doing what they're doing that you realize, oh crap, that's just Leatherface, or that's just Freddy or Jason or whatever. I mean, and to play to the point, how many of these quote-unquote original clown characters are just Pennywise with slightly different makeup? A lot of them. And here's the thing, I get it, Pennywise was a big inspiration in the clown horror genre, but there are ways for clowns to be scary and nothing like Pennywise. There's just, In fact, some of them don't even bother to change the makeup. It's just, oh god. I swear I have to tell you a different character. No, it's not.
Yeah, and lots of times clown makeup is actually protected. Individual clowns protect their own makeup.
Yeah, they copyright register, this is true, by painting it on an egg.
Yeah.
This is literally true. They will paint.
Like a fake egg?
Yeah, I guess they
I would
probably use a
hope.
fake egg now, but what they would do previously is paint it on an egg and then take a photograph of it and submit it.
Huh. Why not just take a picture of it on their face?
Because at that on just a face, it could be seen as a useful article as part of it.
Oh, okay.
And also, I think there are rules. There are very complicated rules around mask and face paint. But on an egg, it's just a sculpture.
It's a piece of art.
It's a piece of art.
Okay.
It's much easier.
That's an interesting way to get around that.
I don't know all the nuances
Yeah.
of the Copyright Office, and thank God I don't have to, thanks to the recent Supreme Court ruling. Thank you, Lordy SCOTUS, for that one thing that you did right. But yeah, that's why it's much easier to register it if it's painted on an egg than a face.
Okay.
But yeah, even if it is original, even if it does fit the theme and overall nature of the haunt, you may not have a place to put it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if the character does perfectly fit the mood and everything that you're trying to put in, what if it's not a good Q-line character, for example? I mean, what if someone is pitching you a Q-line character is completely silent?
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but you're probably not going to be a very good Q-line character then.
No.
Because, yeah, you can do a lot of neat things with a silent character, especially if you have other ways to make noise and startle. But at some point in a Q-line, interaction becomes a thing. You need to interact. And a completely silent character is going to be very handicapped in that. Simply put, not every character, even if they're original, even if they're fitting in their theme, is needed in your haunt. You just don't have space for it, and that's fine. That's actually a good thing. It means your haunt is full of very interesting and useful characters already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then comes the trademark and copyright issues. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you knew I'm on this podcast. You knew this was coming. You knew this was coming. Mm-hmm. We'll get into it in more detail later, but who owns this character? First hint, it's the actor. Bigger hint, it gets really fucked up really fast. So the short answer could be the actor for simplicity's sake, but as we're going to get into, this gets real messy. So what if the customer expects the character next year and it's gone? Or what if it's worse than gone, it's at another haunt? Mm-hmm. You've spent a year, you spent money, you spent resources helping this character get famous, and they naff off with it to another haunt across town.
Yeah, and we've heard stories of this.
This has happened.
Not only just 1 year, but over a couple of years, you've helped improve the character.
Yeah.
Provide better costuming, cues on how to act as the character.
Really done a lot to nurture both this actor and the character.
Yeah.
And then they naff off to another haunt that offers them either a better deal or better dates or whatever, a better position. It happens all the time. Yeah. What if you become known for this character? It becomes very tied to who you are and your haunt's identity, but you don't own it. Basically, there's a lot of danger in prominently featuring something you don't own. And the fifth, and this is kind of the obvious one, it may not be good. What happens if this character sucks? Like, really sucks. And now you've told this actor that they can do this, and they got excited about it, and you have to pull them aside and break their heart and say, no, you can't do this character again. Mm-hmm. That is tough. That is way harder than rejecting someone initially. Like when someone first proposes the idea and you say no, you can just cite legal issues, you can cite reasons, and that's it.
You can say it's not haunt policy.
It's not our haunt policy. There are too many copyright issues. Our lawyers have advised us against doing this. Mm-hmm. All of this is reasonably true. I'm pretty sure if you speak to a lawyer, they will definitely advise you not to do this. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm pretty sure any lawyer that knows copyright and trademark will immediately look at what we're about to talk about and go, holy shit.
Yeah, and I know that we've got a few lawyers who listen to the podcast because they're in the haunt industry. Yeah. So maybe they'll pop up on the comments.
I would like to hear their comments too, but yeah, that's not unrealistic to say a lawyer is advised against this. Mm-hmm. It's not at all. So yeah. But now you've accepted it, you let them try it, and it stunk. And it stunk in a capacity that there's not much saving.
Yeah.
What do you do? what do you do for the customers that did actually like it? Probably all 5 of them. But what do you do? Yeah, so this is a much harder no. It's much more difficult after they've done it for a night, especially if they think it went well. And you're watching this going, oh no. Oh Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, there are reasons to actually consider it. The first is the inverse. It may actually be good.
Mm-hmm.
And we have seen this. Characters can be good. Probably not. Usually they're not, especially right out of the gate.
Well, and usually if a character is good out of the gate, it's because that actor has worked with your haunt long enough to know your haunt and your style.
Yeah, and they've worked on that character long enough to know how to implement it within those things.
Yeah.
They've worked both. And that's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
So that's when it can be fucking magical. And now you've got this brand new thing that's really engaging and really interesting and people are into. But yeah, it could really add something to your haunt if it's good. In exactly the situation you described. They've been with your haunt a while. They know you. They know what you want. And they've got a character that they've been working on in the background and have married it with that. And then they make sweet love with each other.
It's not that kind of podcast.
Oh, podcast? Okay. I'll save that for other podcasts.
Okay.
It also encourages passion in the haunt. Actors become more invested when their ideas are being used, and this is general across the board. You let actors have input into the room, they're going to have passion about that room.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they don't have control of the character. But if they have control where the scare is, how it works, or what items or props are in them, or the lighting, they get invested. Every time you use an actor's idea, that actor gets a little more invested in the haunt.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be a great thing. It can also be a dangerous thing when you go to change those things. But it can be a great thing. And this passion comes through in terms of better productivity, better longevity, they'll stick with you longer, and they'll probably do a better job acting. And put more of themselves out there and into it. And also it encourages more creativity. This is something that we always struggle to communicate with actors, is that we want you to be creative, but within constraints. We want you to be creative. We want you to think outside the box, but not that box.
Yeah.
Because we have all these constraints we put on actors, from the room they're in to safety rules and all those types of things. And we tell actors, you can't do that. But we want actors to figure out ways to make rooms work. You were to me, you were still the quintessential example of this. In the bathroom scene at the home haunt we worked.
Okay.
Because they gave you a room,
mm-hmm.
and they said, okay, this is what we want you to do. This is how we envision this room working.
Mm-hmm.
And a haunt owner apparently has a real poo phobia that no one else really shares.
Mm-mm.
And so you're in there, and you're trying to make it work, and it's just not working.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go, well, what if I just hide behind the shower curtain and make it look like the shower curtain could not hide a full-grown human being?
Especially my size.
Yeah. And then jump out and scare the shit out of you. And that fucking worked.
Mm-hmm.
It was so simple, but it was you thinking creatively what was in that room.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't character creation. It was haunt tactics.
But it was haunt tactics. That's the type of creativity we want to encourage. You made a room work better by being creative with it. You tried and did the things they suggested, didn't find it worked, and then with permission, changed how the room worked. And then it became much more scary.
Yes.
And it was so simple, so effective. It wasn't a character thing, but it's that type of creativity. We want to encourage that, and that's one of the most difficult things to encourage. This encourages it. And finally, it does retain the actor. If you reject the actor outright from doing the character, they may leave. They may try their shit elsewhere. And that can be tough. And if you're a smaller haunt, that could be a not insignificant part of your haunt crew.
We struggled with this in our early years. We had someone who said, yeah, I've got this great character. It was Leatherface.
That was a Leatherface person we talked about.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why we're having this conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, we did eventually kick them out because we couldn't do it.
There were other issues we're not getting into.
No.
Go see, I believe, the Toxic/Cancerous Actors episode. We discussed it more then.
Yeah.
But yeah, that can be tough, especially during these quote-unquote labor shortage. And I hate the term labor shortage. I don't think it's a labor shortage, diddly-diddly-dee, but you know what I mean when I say it.
Yeah.
Now, this is an excellent opportunity, though, to get into the IP stuff. The intellectual property stuff. because, y'all, this is a potential mess. I have not heard of any legal cases stemming from this. I have not found any. And I'm glad for it because this is a potential egregious mess. And you're going to understand why in a second. Because the main rule with this type of stuff in general is the actors own everything they create on their own time, not you. So any work they did on this character at home or doing literally anything else other than working at your haunt, more on that in a second, they own. So if they created the character, built the costume, tested the mannerisms, wrote the backstory, did promo videos and put photos of it, they own all of that.
Yeah.
Not you.
Yeah. If they did social media stuff for the character.
Yeah.
If they copyrighted the character before bringing it to you.
Yeah. They own all of that.
Yep.
Not you. And here's the thing. You own everything that was created while they were employed by you. Now, employed is doing a lot of fucking work in that sentence.
Yeah.
Are your actors independent contractors? They're not employees.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't fucking matter if they're on the clock. If they are independent contractors, not full employees, they own everything they create. No, there's pretty much no limits to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No.
So this is, and so are they volunteering at your haunt? Are they paid independent contractors?
What if you do a work for hire?
You can do a work for hire agreement, but that gets silly complicated because you have to sign the work for hire before starting work on a character.
Right.
In this scenario, the actor is approaching you with a fairly developed character.
Mm-hmm.
May need some changes and adjustments, but a fairly developed character. That would not qualify for a work for hire.
Yeah.
And basically a work for hire situation in this is you sign a contract before ever starting work on this, that you two are working together on this, and the copyright will transfer to you as the payor on this, that they are working for you on this. You can do that, but you have to do it before work starts. You can't do it retroactively. And the other problem is you can't have joint authorship, not easily or conveniently, without a contract before work is started. In both of these scenarios where an actor is approaching you, saying, I want to use this character, that ship failed. That ship
sailed.
It sailed and then failed. It sailed, failed, got railed, and impaled.
Oh, Jesus Christ. We're a mess today.
Been wordling too goddamn much. I blame Wordle for everything. My general MO these days, just to blame Wordle. So yeah, this is an employment, but yeah, just do it. Now you can have them sign over the rights. You can have them transfer the rights in a contract. Any rights to the character. But A, good luck with that. If this really is their baby and they're passionate about it, they're not going to do it. If a haunt tried to get me to sign over the rights to Bernie Baxter, like sign over the copyright to it, fuck off.
Yeah, no. And the other thing to remember is whenever you're hiring actors for specific character roles, especially if they're highlighted, to make sure they know that that's your character that you're letting them play. Because this has happened in a couple of haunts. I remember it causing a big stink probably 7-10 years ago, somewhere in that range. Really popular character, left a haunt, tried to take it to another haunt, and there was some legal talk around it. Yeah. I don't remember if it actually went to
almost certainly not. I have not heard about an actual lawsuit. If you know about a lawsuit that I have not heard about or seen, please, hauntweekly.com, hauntweekly on Twitter, hauntweekly on Facebook, youtube.com/hauntweekly. Leave a goddamn comment and let me know, because I have searched, I have not found it.
Yeah, and this would definitely be something that would cross from this podcast into your day job.
Yeah, and it
you would love to work.
This would almost certainly be an entire episode.
Yeah.
If there was any actual serious litigation, I would want to do a whole fucking episode on it, especially if we had some court rulings and shit.
Yeah.
But that's just it. And it's very possible there has been a lawsuit, or at least serious talk of one. but it didn't go very far.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't expect it to, just because lawsuits are expensive.
Yeah.
And when I'm looking at haunted houses and actors, I'm seeing two sides that typically don't have a lot of free cash to throw around at litigation.
Not at the smaller haunts.
Not even at some of the bigger ones, because you're talking free cash.
Yeah. Free cash is free. I don't know that
Any haunt
anybody
has copyright
like
infringement lawsuit free cash floating around.
Yeah. I think everybody has,
This
track
is
of their
why
money.
this is why these lawsuits are typically like major music publishers and multi-million or billion-dollar companies, not haunted houses. Even big haunts don't really have copyright infringement lawsuit cash, petty money laying around.
Yeah, not individuals.
Not individuals, especially. You got to be. That's a 0.00% moment.
Mm.
That's a pretty high in the percent. So yeah. So basically, the most common outcome of an actor-created character is potentially a mess. Some elements are created on the job. Some are created in private. There's little proof of what was done where.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, almost nothing is likely written down. Proving who owns what is just a mess. And this is literally a nightmare scenario to me.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, completely a nightmare scenario to me. And the reason for that is this. You have the worst of all variables in a copyright case. You have a character that was created in multiple places and in multiple pieces. And we've seen this happen in other characters, because we have had copyright litigation over like Superman and Sherlock Holmes.
Right.
And so we know that pieces of a character can remain in copyright or can be owned by different people. With Superman, it's owned by different people. I can't remember who owns what, but like Superman's heat vision is owned by one person, his ability to fly another, his general look is one of the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Didn't that happen with Doctor Who too?
Yeah,
the original.
Yeah, Doctor Who is a little bit carved up too, but that's more of the characters in the show,
right?
Because the Daleks and K9 are owned by someone who worked with the BBC, and that just becomes a whole fucking mess.
Yeah.
Which, hey, bring back K9.
Yeah.
I love K9.
Yeah.
K9's just awesome. The Daleks are cool too, but they keep working that out to bring the Daleks back. They can't seem to work it out to keep K9 coming back, and it pisses me off because K9 deserves the Dalek treatment. It deserves to be worked on.
Well, and K9's basically like an actual thing now.
Yeah.
That really smart robotics people are working on.
That is true. They're actually making K9.
Yeah.
And if they don't name the first robot dog K9, I'm really going to be pissed off at whoever releases the first robot dog.
Yeah.
That's a grab my baseball bat, we're going to the headquarters moment, bonking some heads.
Yeah.
But no, it's just, this is a nightmare, but to get to the point, this is a nightmare scenario because nothing is written down. The only evidence would probably be video evidence, if any exists, because God knows we keep talking about how haunts don't have complete coverage of their security cameras. And certainly don't keep the footage. So yeah, this becomes the ultimate he said, they said thing. He said, she said, they said thing.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone, no one has proof of anything. Mm-hmm. I'm picturing a judge in this aging 20 years just trying to sort it all out.
I don't think we've aged that much in this podcast.
Oh, shit, this is horrible. This is a potential nightmare scenario. So here is my non-lawyer advice. Lawyers, chime in. Tell me how wrong I am. And if I'm super wrong, we will update next episode. I promise, because this is my non-lawyer advice. So this is not legal advice. First, though, would be to have a written agreement for actor-created characters. Mm-hmm. It's that simple. Now, odds are the most you can reasonably claim is to have a non-exclusive license to use it. But make sure you list the context you want to use it. You might want to use it in your marketing and promotion. You might use it in posters and social media. Mm-hmm. So be sure to mention the ways you want to use it, not just as a part of your haunt. This is definitely something to sit down with your lawyer on. But yeah, I would start with this. The advice is telling you need this. Not go get it from a lawyer. And go get real legal advice too while you're there. But the second is, Don't feature anything you own in your major advertising promotion. Maybe some on social media is fine, but like don't put an actor created a character that you do not own outright on your flyers, or God help you, make your name a haunt after them.
Yeah. Yeah, don't do that. Don't make it your feature character year after year after year, and then when the actor's done, they're just done, and then you don't have the character anymore. That might have happened locally.
Because you have to ask the question. Humans are fallible. Humans fail. They fail in a myriad of ways. When that actor fails, either they fail by going to another haunt after all you've done for them.
Retiring.
They retire. Oh, yeah, the biggest failure of all, retirement. Or they simply just decide they don't want to be a haunter anymore, or they get hit by a bus.
No.
Can you just slot another actor in that? And if so, who would you choose? You know what I mean? Be thinking about that. How will this character outlive that actor at your haunt? If that character can't, then putting too much weight behind them is not a good idea. And basically make sure both sides clearly understand what they are and are not getting. Mm-hmm. This is always a little tricky with copyright stuff because I don't know if you've ever read a terms of service, but it can be very confusing what rights people are granted. Don't do that here. This is an actor. This is supposed to be someone you have not just a business relationship with, but hopefully a friendship one. And you know what I mean? So, and the way to preserve the friendship while doing this legal stuff is to not make it combative and to make sure everyone understands and is working to the same goal. And the contract is just finalizing that.
Yeah. So, all right. Now for the other side.
Yeah. Actors. Yeah, we got at least 10, 15 minutes to talk about the other side, which I think is plenty.
Yeah.
So basically, if you are an actor and you've got this character pinballing around in your head, and you can't wait to actually do them. Mm-hmm. First thing is first. Write down every goddamn thing you can. Mm-hmm. Not joking.
No.
Write a backstory. I don't care if you're not a writer. No one gives a shit. Write it anyway. Mm-hmm. Describe the character in writing. Give them like D&D stats if that helps you. I don't know. And discuss their key traits in this writing.
And key clothing.
And key clothing, yes. This is a description of traits and appearance, yes. Take photos of the character. And if you take them with your camera and you're the photographer, your haunts you use and haunts you take this to will not be able to use them without permission.
Yeah, nobody will.
Yeah.
Not just haunts, nobody.
Yeah, nobody will. Record video of your character working so that way those traits are captured onto video. Mm-hmm. Like if they have a certain way they walk or a verbal tic or something like that. Get it on video.
Yeah, I see that you're working towards something.
Yeah. And get all of this and then register it with the U.S. Copyright Office. If you're based in the United States, I know we have a lot of Canadian people. Canadians disregard this stuff. The other stuff's still good.
So you didn't say the word I was expecting you to say, and it's right there in the damn notes.
Oh, yeah, well, sorry. Yeah, get everything you can in some tangible form of expression.
Yes.
Now, this is an important thing in copyright law. This is admittedly in a bit of a side here, but it's broad. Copyright automatically applies to any creative work that is fixed into a tangible medium expression. What that means is anything you can touch, taste, lick.
That's recorded so you could see it.
That's deliverable to other people. And that means literally anything you save on a computer, for example, is tangible because it's saved on a hard drive somewhere. You could lick the hard drive.
Yeah.
Even if you save it to the cloud, you could go to Google and lick their hard drive.
Yeah.
If they'd let you in.
Yeah.
Yeah, show up at Google and ask to lick a hard drive and see how that goes. I'm very curious what happens. It's a copyright test, I swear.
I'm pretty sure they'll be calling.
I'm pretty sure you get the super police for that or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, make those works tangible. Make them qualify for protection. They'll automatically have it. But then I would if this is something you're really interested in and really think you have a chance of doing something long-term with, register those works with the U.S. Copyright Office. The registration fee is $35 per work. So you might have multiple works you need to register, but it still shouldn't be that much money. And it's really not that complicated to do.
Yeah.
It really, really isn't. And the recent Supreme Court decision means you don't have to worry as much about making honest mistakes. Once again, thank you, SCOTUS. That was literally this week that happened. Probably might want to actually cover that at some point in terms of like how it actually impacts haunts, because it could have a fairly serious impact on haunts, but that's a separate thing. Register those works for the U.S. Copyright Office. If you're Canadian, that doesn't really play. But if you're in the U.S., go ahead and do it.
Yeah, and the thing is that tangible medium ideas, your ideas, don't just take your ideas to a haunt.
Yeah.
Because they can take those ideas because it's not in a tangible form. And if you've copyrighted it, like you were just talking about, then that gives you extra protection. So that if haunt says, no, we don't want that, and then you see it like the next year after you leave or whatever. Yeah. You see that your character that you created there, you can say, hey, I've got protection over that.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah, and exactly. Because the thing about it is this, ultimately, is like in this room where we are now, we have the microphone between us. If that microphone were not there recording everything onto that little SD card, everything we just said would not be copyright protectable.
Correct.
It'd just be into the ether and poof, it would disappear. And so if I took something you said or you took something I said and ran with it, then I can't do anything about it. But the fact is, we're recording this. And that is what puts it into a tangible medium. So put shit down is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
If the actor side of this can be summarized in 3 words, write shit down, probably be it.
Yeah, and I think that whenever you take it to a haunt, present it as a portfolio.
Yeah.
You know, put the photos, put the backstory. That way you can say, look, this is what I gave them whenever, I presented this character.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that helps you. And also I would look for standard license uses for the character so that whenever you take it to the haunt, you know what you're giving up and you know the expectations from your side.
Yeah. You may be able to find, and I don't know, I've not actually done this, this is me speaking off the cuff, you may be able to go to a site like Zoom Legal or something and get a stock contract for licensing it.
Yeah.
And even if you can't, you could probably get one drafted fairly cheap from a lawyer.
Yeah, I know that there are lots of free forms out there, and you can tweak it so you're liking.
So yeah. Anyways, so now you've done that part and you've done the important shit. Where are you going to take it? How are you going to get it? Well, focus on haunts you have an existing relationship with. This is not a really good way to introduce yourself to a haunt that you've never dealt with before. You're probably not ready to be a traveling character yet. And honestly, that's something that's typically built over years. Yeah. You build that reputation, you build that skill over years. As a new character, as someone new at this, you're going to have to start with someone you have a relationship with, someone you trust, not only to treat you and the character fairly, but also who's there to give you advice and pointers and help guide you. Someone to not only give you a chance, but help you grow. So basically focus on making this an expansion of a current relationship. Also, make sure the character fits into the haunt, going back to what we talked about. And come up with something that fits within the style, story, and theming of the haunt. If the haunt is medieval themed, for example, don't come back with a modern clown. Yeah. You can come back with a medieval clown. I could see there are medieval clowns.
Like a jester?
Yeah, like a jester. You can come back with that. But don't come back with a 20th century clown. Or 21st century clown. Don't be stupid. Make sure it fits well within the universe they've created. And here's a dirty secret. Think of at least 2 places in the haunt the character can work or be used. For example, you may want this to be a Q-line character, but they may be full up on Q-line actors. They may be totally full up, or they may only do that for actors that have a certain tenure.
Or they may have, a bigger need inside the haunt than outside.
Exactly. So that won't work. They can't do that. So they would reject your character. They'd probably accept you as an actor, but not your character. Well, okay. Also, though, it could work in this room. And that's when you might get the haunt's interest. Both places need to work about equally as well, and that's something that's fairly trivial to do. If you can't think of 2 places your character can work in a haunt, it's not a very good character.
For that haunt.
For that haunt, yeah. It's just not a good character for that haunt, yeah. And it may not be a good character overall. It may be too narrow of a character. You may need to expand it.
That's true.
So you may need to expand and grow it. But it's definitely not a good character for that haunt. If you can't think of 2 places it legitimately would work in that haunt, it's not the character for that haunt. And you may want to focus on expanding the character or looking to different haunts. But here's the thing. Bonus points if you can pick a place where others don't want to work. Where they are almost definitely going to be shorthanded. Ticket booth. If haunts have character and costume ticket booth workers, some do.
Mm-hmm.
That's a rough fucking job.
Yeah.
And not a lot of haunts want to do it. But if you can make it work, it could be a neat thing. A less loved room in the haunt. Every haunt's got that one room no one wants to be in. Either it's just a room that's tough to get a scare in, it's uncomfortable, it's in an awkward position.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you never want the room after one of the big scares.
Right.
Because a lot of people will be too hyped up to get scared again.
Yeah.
So now you're a scare actor in what's basically a come-down room.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's tough for
It
actors.
is, that's tough.
Because haunts need all of those rooms to make it work.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, we get focused on what we want to do and getting the big scares, and that's not the role that we're meant to play right then.
And also consider distraction positions. And here's the thing, for a character, like if you're actually really trying to create a character, not just a startle actor, a distraction position can be great because it's higher interactivity.
Definitely.
You're engaged. You're oftentimes engaging more. You're getting a lot more face time with the people coming through than the ghost that just pops out and goes boo or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say boo, but you get the idea. James will murder me for that.
Well, I'm pretty sure you've got a lot of clowns after you too right now.
Luckily, they're clowns, and I don't have clownophobia. So I'm safe. But yes,
all right.
In all seriousness, those distract positions are less popular with a lot of actors, but are really good for characters.
Yeah.
So be thinking about those. And to wrap it up, basically the rest of this is just good manners, but it's still important. Schedule a time to pitch the character, ideally before a season. In fact, now would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because right now, if they really love the character, they can adjust rooms and adjust things to fit it.
Well, and you have time to build it over the summer as a character on your social media and stuff. And, help the advertising of the haunt for it. Yeah,
this becomes much more collaborative if you do it now than, say, August, September.
October 1st.
Hey, I got a pitch for a character. Fuck you. It's going to be the answer you hear.
Yeah.
If they are remotely sane, they will tell you to fuck off.
Yeah.
Shut up and or fuck off, ideally both.
I've been in the other position where we've showed up to work at a haunt and they've said, do you have a costume with you?
Yeah.
Can you figure out this room?
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's not a lot of work to go with, Okay.
Yeah, I've literally worked at a haunt as Bernie. In fact, I did ticket booth, which is one of the reasons I thought about it. I did it because they had no one to work ticket booth. And because of a couple of cancellations, there wasn't really anyone else that could do it. So I said, I'll just put on the Bernie costume and go do it.
Yeah, because I forget why I was in the car. I think we were like...
We'd gone and we'd done like a thing at Spirit or something. They'd invited us. We'd been invited and promote elsewhere.
Yeah, but the costume was in the car.
It was literally in the trunk.
Yeah,
and I don't remember why it was either. Yeah. It was just for it was in season and it was reasons. And reasons is probably the best answer we can come up with. But yeah, I had it in the trunk and I was like, oh crap, I've actually got Burning in the trunk. I can pop it on in 5 minutes. Yeah. That's what happened. So yeah, and don't show up October 1st like that. Don't be that dick. Yeah, if you do that, you're going to be told no. And even if you are allowed to do it, you're not going to be invited back. It's not going to be a recurring thing, most likely. You can burn bridges this way pretty easily. So schedule that time to pitch and ask them what they want you to do. Basically, every haunt has a different process here. Some just want to see the full character in action. They want you to come there in the character, be the character in front of them. Do it. Maybe they'll have some test eyeballs there to help them. Others want stills, videos, and just information, and they'll make their judgment from that. And some just won't give a shit and will just say, okay, character looks fun, we'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
But just give them what they want and meet their demands. And basically, from here on out, it's straightforward stuff. If you're accepted, perform the character as advertised. Do not make changes without discussing with the haunt, especially the first night you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to the feedback you do get, make adjustments, and focus on refining the character for that haunt. Even if attributes of it don't necessarily carry over if you do it somewhere else, make it the best damn version of that character you can for that haunt. If you're rejected, you can take the character elsewhere. But if you don't have a lot of haunts you've got a good relationship with, that's not going to work out well, most likely. Because it takes time to grow and build a character and your reputation as a character.
Mm-hmm.
You got to build both of those up, and that just takes time.
Yeah, I mean, there are several people who I know because they do so much social media with their characters that I would 100% love them to come by. Now, we're volunteers, so they're not going to do that because they got to make their monies. But I would take them in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Yeah, it takes a lot of time. But these are characters that have grown over years and years and years. Some cases, decades.
Yeah.
So basically, instead of just going elsewhere, ask for feedback. Try to get as much feedback as you can without being pushy.
Mm-hmm.
What can be changed? Why do they feel it's not a good fit? Get feedback and offer to adjust and maybe try again next year.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if next year is after you've worked the haunt playing one of their characters or doing one of their roles. And they can see that you're a dependable hand, or it further reinforces that you're a dependable hand.
Yeah.
They might be able to reconsider it next year. However, just remember that sometimes no is just no, and being pushy about being told no ruins relationships. If you want to preserve the relationship with that haunt at all, you need to be able to take no well.
Mm-hmm.
No well. Take no well.
We're having silence on the podcast because they can't see the stairs.
Yeah. Anyway, wrapping up, that's just about all we got. All in all, basically, an actor-created character can add something to a haunt, especially if it's a good fit and it's a good collaborative effort. However, there are a lot of risks and often not very many rewards. That's why you have to take those steps to mitigate those risks, get everything in writing, be very clear. You know the drill.
Mm-hmm.
It's just something for both sides to consider. But personally, I think bringing on an actor-created character in a haunt should be something done under fairly rare circumstances, personally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because when you're designing your haunt, you know what you want where.
Mm-hmm.
And, the ideal situation is you're going to train your actors to be in those areas.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what 90% of haunt actors do.
Yeah. 90 plus. I think it's way more than 90.
Yeah.
Because I think most haunts would rather have actors that can serve as a good, steady hand in just about any role than an actor that can only do one role well.
Yeah.
I think that's often just much more valuable. Well, on that note, everyone, thank you for spending the past hour with us. This one will hopefully go live on Monday, barring any grotesque technical issues along the way. This has been Haunt Weekly, episode 326. Getting on up there, as we were talking about actor-created characters. Thank you very much for your time. You can find more Haunt Weekly at hauntweekly.com. We're Haunt Weekly on Facebook, Haunt Weekly on Twitter. YouTube.com/hauntweekly is our YouTube channel. And, of course, you can catch us at all the usual places you find your podcast. Apple Podcasts, Google Play, etc., etc., etc. Until next time, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And we will see you all next week.